Tiffani Thiessen was one of the most beloved actresses of the 90s, and today we're going to deep dive through the life of this iconic Saved by the Bell actress. We're going to go through a journey of nostalgia and find out where she is today. Tiffani Thiessen was born on January the 23rd, 1974 in Long Beach, California. Her journey to fame began at a young age when she was discovered by a talent agent at a beauty pageant. So she was one of these beauty pageant kids, and from that moment there, her career began to just skyrocket. So in 1988, at the age of 14, she was on the cover of Teen magazine, having won the magazine's Great Model Search. And in 1989, she was named CoverGirl's Model of the Year. So already at age 15, she's on the cover of Teen magazine and she's Model of the Year. In the same year, she got a big break when she was cast as Kelly Kapowski in the iconic teen sitcom Saved by the Bell. Her portrayal of the popular and sweet high school student resonated with viewers and quickly made her a fan favourite. And of course, for boys of a certain age, I'm going to say if you are now between the age of, let's say, 29 and 50, there is a big chance that Tiffani, or at least Kelly from Saved by the Bell, was your first ever crush. I remember because the show ran from 1989 to like 1993, so before I was even born, but the reruns was going pretty much all the way through the 90s. Right, I used to come home from school and it used to be on the TV, so I'd watch that in the living room whilst I'm eating my tea. And I know, not really for me, I was more of I'd say my first crush was Sabrina the Teenage Witch. But for other people, definitely, Kelly was the one with like peak perfection of anyone around that age, right? So she played that character, like I said, 1989 to 1993. That's when she was 15 to the age of 19. And after it finished, her career showed no signs of stopping. She went straight into Beverly Hills 90210, which was in 1994, where she played the role of Valerie Malone. This was a pivotal moment in her career as it allowed her to showcase her acting range and take on some more complex roles. Or so I hear. I was actually never a fan. 90210 wasn't my jam. I never watched it. But I hear she was very good and also beloved from that show as well. Following her time on 90210, Tiffani continued to work in television. She starred in a show called Two Guys and a Girl, Fast Lane, and she did other projects that helped solidify her status as a talented and versatile actress. She was also in films at the time, so the 90s was really all about Tiffani. Not to mention the reruns that I was speaking about, Saved by the Bell was running pretty much throughout the entirety of the 90s. If you just look at her IMDb, there wasn't a time in the 90s when she wasn't working, when she wasn't releasing new projects. And you've got to keep in mind, during this time, we've got all the reruns, so she was really huge in the 90s. She was like the biggest star of 90s television. And then suddenly, we just don't hear about her anymore. So what happened there? That's what we want to know. So after the 90s, everything kind of died off. She was still working. Like I said, look at her IMDb. If you go above the 90s, there's still loads of stuff there. But personally, I don't remember any of it. I don't know if this is a case of all of her fans were growing up and they moved on to different things and she was still kind of playing a somewhat similar character and she couldn't resonate with a new audience. It happens to people, I suppose, so she just kind of fell off. You can see when you look at her IMDb, it slowly starts to drop off. It's still quite busy in the early 2000s and then nothing. She even made a comeback for the remake of Saved by the Bell. From what I hear, that was quite the flop. Currently, she is 49 years old and she looks like this. She is seemingly more interested in cooking. She hosted her own cooking show, Dinner at Tiffany's. She released a cookbook. She is married to actor Brady Smith and she has 2 kids, a daughter and a son. So I don't think this is a case of a downfall of someone, because we take Tiffani in the 90s, massively successful, but today, let's be honest, she could walk through a supermarket and she's not really going to get stopped that much by people who recognise her, unless the people of a certain generation. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you take a look at what she's doing now, seemingly she's alright with that. She's made this decision on her own to move on. She's kind of took on this momfluencer attitude. If you look at her social media, it's filled with things like recipes and lifestyle stuff and crafts that she's doing with her kids. So she seems to be doing just fine. But this is what she looked like in her peak in the 90s, and this is what she's looking like today. And it's refreshing to see someone who was such a big star, and especially for their looks, right? Because a lot of people spoke about what she was wearing and what she looked like. To those kind of people, you kind of see them today that usually end up with a lot of issues, mental health stuff. They go through a lot of plastic surgery, but Tiffani seems to be taking on the more natural role, and I am absolutely here for it. And that kind of concludes that whole section. But what really got me into this was the fact that everyone is now looking back for fashion inspo. Right? For anyone who remembers, when Saved by the Bell first came out, Tiffani's outfits weren't anything like crazy, right? She was just a well-dressed character. And then as the years have gone by a little bit more, she's become one of the biggest outfit inspos of the season. High-waisted jeans and, you know, these kind of windbreaker jackets. Everyone wants to wear them now. Everyone's looking at Kelly for fashion inspo, which I just find absolutely peculiar. It's like so many years later, she's now 49 years old, making videos about feeding chickens on Instagram, and here's an entire generation that probably wouldn't recognise her in the supermarket, trying to replicate her teenage looks. It's just crazy. I don't know, maybe it's just me, I just find it odd that she's this huge fashion inspiration, but that's not who she is now. I don't know, I can't find my words, but I find it to be odd, basically. That is about it, and that is today's video. Please do like and subscribe and comment and do all that stuff, and let me know if you want to see any more Where Are They Now and who you want me to cover, who you want me to comment on, who is your favourite person from the 90s. I love doing the nostalgic ones, so if you've got anyone else from like the 90s or 80s, I would happily cover them. Until next time, goodbye.